Hello everyone and welcome back for some more Drag Race gossip, secrets and drama. As it's my birthday today and I know you all love my Drag Race compilations of Backstage secrets, I'm back with another helping of piping hot drag tea. So here is a compilation of 23 insane Backstage secrets from RuPaul's Drag Race. Also, I'd really love to be able to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so please do me a birthday favour and make sure you hit subscribe to support my channel. Thank you and enjoy! The Lost Episode. Season 6, Episode 10 was called Drag My Wedding. In the episode, the contestants had to put grooms into drag who then got married to their significant others on stage. Jocelyn Fox was paired with a pro basketball player who was named Brandon. But what was surprising was Brandon seemed quite uncomfortable and a bit homophobic throughout the show through some of the comments and the things that he was saying about he was worried what some of the other people on his basketball team would think of him in drag and whether they would question his masculinity, etc. And this led many people to question why Brandon even agreed to appear on Drag Race in the first place. Jocelyn Fox once confirmed in an interview that Brandon had apparently been caught cheating on his fiancée and that she had forced him to appear on the show as punishment for his infidelity. So basically, he was forced by his fiancée to appear on Drag Race. The episode was pulled from various streaming services, not all of them but some, and it has since come back to some streaming services, but the episode was pulled and it was never quite clear why, but there were rumours that Brandon's basketball team got involved and complained to the show, and that's why they removed the episode. Oh, but there's more tea about this story. In the same episode, Jocelyn landed in the bottom this week and she was criticised for the makeup job she did on Brandon because he looked quite, quote, metallic and silver around the eyes. The reason for this, and it's been confirmed by a couple of different queens, is that after Trinity K. Bonet left the week before and was eliminated, the producers removed all dark skin makeup from the workroom because they said they didn't need it anymore, because there were no more POCs in the competition. And this basically means that Jocelyn didn't have makeup that would suit Brandon's skin tone because there just wasn't any dark skin makeup left in the workroom because the producers had removed it all. There was also some allegations of shady editing and colour alteration in post-production, which meant that Brandon's makeup looked more silvery than it did in actual real life, and you can kind of see this with a side-by-side comparison of different points in the episode. Shady editing to the max. Max was a contestant on season 7 and placed 9th. Max became known for her grey hair and signature makeup and the spot on her face. She actually did pretty well in the competition until the Snatch Game episode when she landed in the bottom for her poor performance as Sharon Needles. During the mainstage critiques later, Max loosened her corset and said that she was feeling unwell. They then cut to a shot of Max sitting down on the stage with production giving her water, and she was singing a song and laughing, which made it look like Max was doing it for attention. And the judges didn't look very impressed by this. However, Max has since stated that that's not exactly how it happened. Max said that apparently she was feeling unwell and RuPaul was actually the one that encouraged her to sing to take her mind off it, and the judges even applauded her and laughed when she did her little performance. So Max was apparently quite surprised when she saw the shady editing and watched the episode because it made her look a bit crazy, but that isn't actually what happened in real life. The Lipstick Lie. Thorgy Thor appeared on Season 8 and All Stars 3, placing 6th and 10th respectively. It's been said by many people that Thorgy was edited quite poorly on both seasons, but particularly on All Stars 3. But Thorgy spilt some real tea about All Stars 3 when she was doing a YouTube video with Bob the Drag Queen. As we already know, during All Stars 3, the eliminated queens came back to pick the lipsticks of the 2 queens from the final 4 that they wanted to see in the finale. In the YouTube video with Bob the Drag Queen, Thorgy revealed that they originally signed a contract that stated that the queen's lipstick choices wouldn't be shown on camera. But the show did actually reveal which lipsticks the queens picked, which Thorgy was surprised by because it actually went against the terms of the original contract that they signed. As Thorgy would say, ugh, Jesus, gross. The Uber Lie. Robbie Turner competed on Season 8 and placed 7th. In 2018, Robbie posted on her social media that she was involved in a fatal car crash and that the driver of the Uber that she was riding in had died in the crash. At first, there was a lot of concern and people were sending her messages of love, but then questions started to arise when local police confirmed that they had not received any reports of any fatal car crashes in the area on the night in question. And then other RuPaul's Drag Race contestants started commenting on the situation on social media, some positively and some negatively. Robbie later then said that the crash didn't actually happen, and she said that her drink was spiked and she couldn't remember anything about that night, but a lot of people weren't sure whether they could actually believe what she was saying and they thought she had just made up the whole thing for attention. But it's not quite clear what the actual reason was. Robbie posted on social media to say that she was taking a break from drag and hasn't posted anything since, and this was in April 2018. The Piani Problem. Lucian Piani is a composer and music producer who worked on several of RuPaul's albums, including Champion and Glamazon. He also appeared on the show several times as a guest judge. I've spoken about this before in some of my other videos, but Lucian fell out of favour in 2016 when he started posting controversial and racist comments on his Twitter and social media. And Lucian also criticised RuPaul, calling RuPaul a, quote, sham who only cares about money. Lucian then started posting quite alarming photos of himself on social media where he looked quite unwell, and he later claimed that he was suffering the side effects of antipsychotic medication that he had been taking. Lucian has also been arrested several times, including in 2019 for trespassing outside a bank in Los Angeles. RuPaul tweeted in 2016 asking people to have compassion, which was assumed that it was referring to Lucian's mental health issues. Unfortunately, Lucian continued with his behaviour, posting very alarming videos of himself and was clearly not in his right state of mind. But he has since stated, since January of this year, that he's going into recovery, and he admits that he was suffering from mania, and I hope that he gets the help he needs. Willem the Not All-Star. Willem Belli appeared on Season 4 and made history for being the first queen to ever be disqualified from the competition. On the show, they said in the reunion that the reason for Willem's disqualification was because she was receiving, quote, conjugal visits from her husband. However, Willem later revealed that the real reason that she had been disqualified was because she had slept with a producer of Untucked, and she had also called out lots of the staff for inappropriate behaviour, unprofessionalism, but she also wanted to be kicked out of the competition because she had been asked to do a musical and she wanted to leave to go and do it because she thought it would transfer to Broadway. So she was deliberately doing stuff like stealing things from set to try and get kicked off, but she also said that the producers were actually being very unprofessional anyway, and she was trying to call them out on it and causing trouble. Willam has also been critical of RuPaul over the years and revealed in an interview that she had actually been booked for All Stars 1 but was cancelled days before filming because they, quote, couldn't see a storyline for her with any of the other contestants. Willam didn't know exactly the reason why she was cancelled from All Stars 1, other than what they told her, but she assumes that the only person she would have really had a storyline with was Fifi O'Hara, but Fifi at that point had failed her psych evaluation because she had got in trouble with the law and she ended up going to jail, so she was cancelled for All Stars, and I think, according to Willam, that's why she was cancelled from All Stars, because she wouldn't have had stakes with anyone other than Fifi, and Fifi was no longer in it. And as some bonus tea, Willam also said that when she was cancelled from All Stars very last minute, they then brought on Mimi First instead. Trinity the Tuck versus Luxe Noir London. As you probably know, Luxe Noir London is currently a contestant on season 15 of RuPaul's Drag Race, and the last episode of season 15 was the Snatch Game. Luxe said that she was going to be playing Amanda Lepore, who is an American singer, model and performance artist. And you may remember that Trinity the Tuck played Amanda Lepore for Snatch Game on season 9. On the latest episode of season 15, while the queens were getting ready for Snatch Game, someone asked Luxe if it made her nervous that Trinity the Tuck had already done Amanda Lepore on Snatch Game. And Luxe jokingly said, quote, no, because she didn't do that good of a job. Later on Twitter, a few users tweeted in support of Trinity and said that she did a better job than Luxe and implied as though Luxe was being arrogant. And Trinity liked these posts. And it appears as though Luxe found out that Trinity had liked these posts, and Luxe then tweeted saying, liking and laughing at tweets about how my Snatch Game was horrible and how I'm arrogant and delusional won't make yours any more memorable ... or funnier because it wasn't. And Bob the drag queen commented saying, we want names, I want their at, and people in the comments said that Luxe was referring to Trinity. Trinity then seemingly responded to this and tweeted saying, 11 wins, ... still waiting for at least one, done with this conversation. And this is presumably referring to the fact that Trinity has won 11 challenges across all the seasons she's competed in on Drag Race, and Luxe has so far not won a challenge. Trinity later followed this up by saying, mind you, I didn't throw the first punch, but I'm no punk. You'll already know, you talk bleep, you get a reply. And Trinity then received some criticism for her tweet in the comments, and Trinity replied to one Twitter user saying, oh ma'am, she's an adult starting bleep, and I don't give an F. If you know better, you talk bleep for absolutely no reason, you're going to get a response. And you, my dear, need to grow up if you can't understand that. And just as some background information, in general, Luxe has been getting a lot of criticism online, saying that she has been overly confident or arrogant, and has also received racist and hateful comments, which is of course disgusting and unacceptable. And this is probably why Luxe later tweeted saying, I'm delusional for being confident in myself and unafraid to say that I'm good at what I do, even though I'm actually doing good in the competition. How is that delusional, lol? It just sounds like I'm being realistic. And Luxe also said, I'm probably just gonna not use Twitter anymore, lol. And Luxe explains that she needs a break from being told how she is a horrible person and said, we all have days where our barrier of self-confidence is made of straw and not bricks. And later on, Trinity tweeted saying that half her tweets are just jokes and acknowledged that Luxe did a good job on Snatch Game. And Trinity also said you shouldn't be sending hate to any of the queens, especially not racially motivated insults. And neither Luxe nor Trinity have tweeted about the situation since then. Mistress Isabel Brooks suspended on Instagram. There was some drama earlier this week when Mistress Isabel Brooks's Instagram account appeared to have been suspended and no one knew why. Mistress took to Twitter to inform people as to what was going on and said that people had been reporting her Instagram account for abuse on the back of what happened in the latest episode of Untucked with Marsha. Just to explain in case you haven't seen it, in Untucked for the Snatch Game episode, Marsha was saying that she thought that she was second in the ranking for that episode after Lucy LaDuca, who ultimately won the episode. And Marsha explained that the judges liked her Snatch Game as Tim Gunn, but they critiqued her runway outfit for being too simple. And Mistress seemingly didn't take kindly to this because Mistress was also high in the ranking that week and probably felt that she would have been second in the placement and therefore felt like Marsha was discrediting her slightly. Mistress then said to Marsha that she didn't think Marsha would have been second in the ranking and said, quote, "Your look is kind of cheap and I don't think during Snatch Game that you were that funny." Mistress then went on to say, "I'm not saying it's ugly or busted, it's just kind of like on the cheaper side." Marsha didn't seem to agree with this, and Mistress said that was just her opinion, and a few people agreed with Mistress that Marsha could have amped up her makeup, but they said that Marsha still looked good. Mistress also apologised to Marsha and said she wasn't trying to be mean, she was just giving her opinion, and that seemed to be the end of the discussion in Untucked. Well, it appears that after the Untucked episode aired, many people online then reported Mistress's Instagram account for abuse, and this led to Mistress's Instagram being suspended. Mistress tweeted saying that the fanbase had previously ruined her Drag Race debut because they kept comparing her to Drag Race alum Eureka. And Mistress also said, "And now the fanbase has reported my Instagram and has cost me so much engagement and followers, which I'm also one of the least followed from the cast because I checked someone who tried to discredit me." Mistress then wrote a thread of tweets where she said that the real reason people were being hateful towards her is because she's fat and a person of colour. And she ended by saying that she is unstoppable and she will keep going on and conquer. Marsha then posted on her Instagram stories saying that Mistress is an icon and said that they had already sorted their drama. And Marsha also said how much of a hindrance it is when you report people's social media accounts because it can affect people's engagement. And Marsha ended by calling on Instagram to restore Mistress's account and said that people were fraudulently reporting her. And Marsha added on Twitter that also Mistress was right, she was absolutely top 2. And Mistress's account was reinstated later that day. However, as of a few hours ago, Mistress tweeted again saying that her account had been resuspended, and at time of recording, her Instagram account is still suspended. Queens react to 40-minute episodes. As many of you will have realised, Drag Race announced that for season 15, the episodes would be cut from 1 hour to 40 minutes. And this decision caused a lot of backlash online, and many people blamed the fact that MTV had cut Drag Race episodes to make room in the schedule for the new show, The Real Friends of WeHo, which features Drag Race stars Todrick Hall and Brad Koreski. There's a lot of drama about Todrick Hall and the Real Friends of WeHo, and it's too much to get into now, so I'm going to make a separate video about it, so make sure you watch out for that, and I'll put a link in the description once the video comes out. Anyway, a lot of people were unhappy with the fact that Drag Race episodes were being cut down to 40 minutes, including the contestants themselves, and many of them have voiced their frustrations online. For example, Selena S. Titties said on Twitter, "We worked too hard and invested too much money for a 45-minute edit." And Selena also made the point that the contestants spend so much money on the runway outfits and they only get shown for 13 seconds, which is really upsetting. But Drag Race Canada contestant Eve 6000 replied to Selena and said 40 minutes on MTV is better than 60 on VH1. And Eve's reasoning is that MTV has a higher viewership than VH1. But Drag Race alum Detox also commented on Selena's tweet about the 40-minute episodes and said, "I hate it." Aura Mayari tweeted and implied as though a lot of content was cut from the last episode, presumably because the episodes are now 20 minutes shorter than previously. And there was even a petition started on change.org to bring back the 90-minute episodes of Drag Race and not air The Real Friends of WeHo, and so far the petition has over 30,000 signatures. And Drag Race alum Kim Chi posted about this by tweeting a photo of the cast of The Real Friends of WeHo with the caption, "The villains of season 15 of RuPaul's Drag Race has been revealed." However, some people seem to prefer the 40-minute episodes, such as former contestant and now judge of Canada's Drag Race, Brooklyn Heights. Brooklyn tweeted saying, "Am I the only one who didn't mind how short that episode was?" And Juicebox from Canada's Drag Race Season 1 replied and said, "They got rid of the fluff, straight to the point, perfect." And the winner of Drag Race Down Under Season 2, Spanky Jackson, agreed and said, "So agree, streamlined it." So it appears as though the reception to the 40-minute episodes of Drag Race has been mixed, and we'll need to see if MTV decides to change this decision in the future. Spice versus Marsha. There appeared to be a little bit of a beef between Spice, who is one half of the twins Sugar and Spice, and fellow season 15 contestant Marsha. It appears to have stemmed from a comment that Marsha made during Sugar and Spice's lip sync in the latest episode. The two of them did a choreographed lip sync routine, and during the lip sync they cut to a confessional of Marsha saying, quote, "more canned bits," which implied as though Sugar and Spice rely on doing pre-rehearsed jokes and tricks, which is something they had been accused of previously. Anyway, it appears as though Spice then called Marsha out on Twitter and said, "Miss Marsha has to stop with the canned bits, it's called charisma boo, you should get some." And Marsha responded to Spice and said, "I'm sorry girlie, I didn't know it was something that was upsetting you, you both have charisma for days." And they don't seem to have tweeted about the situation since then, so I think this was just a little bit of beef that's been resolved. Lucy LaDuca calls out Rock'em Sakura. Season 15 contestant Lucy LaDuca appeared to call out fellow Drag Race alums in a tweet where she said, "Y'all, these Drag Race alums are being rough on the girls. Have an opinion, but calling me weird looking out of drag and saying you wouldn't want to visit Connecticut because I live there, I mean damn, you've been through the process, lighten up." And it wasn't clear what Lucy was referring to specifically, but then Season 12 contestant Rock'em Sakura replied to Lucy's tweet and said, "Sorry if we've been rough on you, love. We'll make sure to send more kindness your way. We think you're an amazing queen and we're super impressed with you." And it appears as though Lucy's tweet was most likely referring to something Rock said in a video on her YouTube channel. In Rock's Drag Race review video for episode 3 of season 15, which was the acting challenge, Rock at one point made a comment about Lucy and said that out of drag, quote, "she looks weird in general." And Rock then went on to say that Lucy, quote, "looks like a Keebler elf," which is a cartoon mascot of the American snack manufacturer Keebler. Rock then went on to say that Lucy looks mad all the time and that, quote, "she paints mad," implying as though her makeup makes her look mad. Rock also made a comment about drag in Connecticut, which is where Lucy is from, and Rock said that Connecticut drag is, quote, "very elusive to me," and asked her viewers what Connecticut drag is. And the co-host said that they should go to Connecticut, and Rock said, "What's in Connecticut?" And the co-host replied, "Lucy." And Rock replied and said, "No, I'm not going." And these comments appear to be what upset Lucy. However, Lucy then commented on Rock's apology tweet and said, "Miss Rock'em Sakura reached out and we chatted privately. It's all good and we're working on our sex tape soon." And it appears as though the two of them have sorted their issues and the situation was resolved. Trixie Mattel got carjacked. Trixie Mattel competed on Season 7 and All Stars 3, placing 6th and winner respectively. Trixie has become one of the most famous and recognisable Drag Race queens since her time on the show, and this is partly thanks to her show which she co-hosts with fellow Drag Race contestant Katya. On the show, Trixie and Katya talk about a particular topic, and they often share funny/interesting stories about their lives. In episode 134, which was titled Fighting, they were talking about if they had ever been in a fight, and Trixie admitted that she once got carjacked. Trixie said that she was driving in her boyfriend at the time's car, and someone reached through the window and took the keys out of the ignition. He then got on top of Trixie in the front seat and, quote, started punching me in the head and the face. And Trixie said that she was screaming no and said that it was, quote, so scary. And then the man apparently stole Trixie's phone, and then later he used Trixie's phone to call Trixie's boyfriend and said that if Trixie wanted her phone back, she needed to meet him at this bank and also bring her debit card and the app to her bank account. But Trixie said that she had the Find My iPhone service, which allows you to track where your iPhone is located. And so Trixie turned on Find My iPhone and called the police and gave them the exact address of where the robber was. The police then arrested the man and Trixie got her phone back, but Trixie decided not to press charges. And the reason why is because a week after this all happened, Trixie had to go and film Drag Race. And the police said that Trixie would need to be there in person to testify, but because Trixie was going to be gone to film Drag Race for several weeks, she couldn't be there to press charges, and so the man got away with carjacking her. Trixie also said that when she got her phone back from the robber, he had previously given it to his girlfriend, and the girlfriend had taken lots of selfies of herself using Trixie's phone. So Trixie decided to post the photos on Facebook and said, quote, this is the person's girlfriend who carjacked me and stole my phone. And Trixie added that she didn't feel bad about it at all. Wearing each other's t-shirts. As we all know, there are lots of drag families and several members of the same drag house have competed on Drag Race. But what you may not know is that Alexis Michelle, who competed on Season 9 and All Stars 8, is in the same drag family as Season 10 contestant Dusty Ray Bottoms, and the two of them wore each other's t-shirts on their seasons. On Season 9, Episode 6, which was the Snatch Game, during the workroom walkthrough with RuPaul, Alexis can be seen wearing a t-shirt that says Dusty Ray Bottoms on it. And then on Season 10, Episode 2, which was the Farmer-rusical, during the rehearsal, Dusty is wearing a t-shirt with Alexis's face on it. And the image on the t-shirt is presumably a reference to the outfit that Alexis wore during Season 9, Episode 5, and the category was faux fur. And on a similar note, you may also not know that April Carry-On from Season 6 and Candy Ho from Season 7 are both members of the Dollhouse, which is a Puerto Rican drag house. And on Season 6, Episode 4, which was Shade the Rusical, during the rehearsal, April can be seen wearing a t-shirt that says Candy Ho on it. And then Candy ended up being cast on the next season. Venus Delight on My Strange Addiction. Venus Delight competed on Season 3 and was the first queen to be eliminated. Although Venus's time on Drag Race was quite short, she did tell us that she was a Madonna impersonator and had had multiple cosmetic surgeries in order to look more like Madonna. And we got to see a bit of her Madonna during the reunion episode when Venus dressed up as Madonna and also said that she would have done Madonna as her Snatch Game character. However, something you may not know is that Venus also once appeared in an episode of the TV show My Strange Addiction. For those of you who don't know, My Strange Addiction is a TV show that focuses on people with unusual compulsive behaviours. And previous guests have included a woman who was addicted to eating drywall and a man who was in love with his car. Venus appeared on Season 6, Episode 6 of My Strange Addiction, and her addiction was that she was addicted to being Madonna. In the episode, Venus said that she had devoted 12 years of her life and spent around $175,000 on cosmetic surgeries to look more like Madonna. At the beginning of the episode, they showed Venus out of drag meeting her boyfriend at the time, Michael. And Michael makes it clear that he doesn't like Venus dressing up as Madonna and says, quote, I want to date a boy, I don't want to date a 56-year-old woman. And Michael also says he's concerned that Venus will put herself in a coma because of all the surgeries she's having and she also may never wake up. Later in the episode, Venus meets with one of Madonna's dancers who questions why Venus likes dressing up as Madonna so much. And at one point, Venus is looking in the mirror and says that she feels like she really is Madonna, but she wants to be Adam, which is Venus's name out of drag. And at another point in the episode, Venus gatecrashes her mother's party in full Madonna drag, and everyone is very shocked because Venus's mother's friends didn't know that Venus was a Madonna impersonator. And the episode in general is very crazy with lots of dramatic moments like these. And if you want to learn more about Venus Delight, the YouTube channel Green Gay coincidentally did a recent video about Venus, so make sure you check that out. I'll put a link in the description. Ms. Cracker danced on a stranger's car. Ms. Cracker competed on Season 10 and All Stars 5, placing 5th and runner-up respectively. Ms. Cracker demonstrated strong lip-sync abilities on Drag Race, so it should come as no surprise that Ms. Cracker is an avid dancer and performer. But what you may not know is that Ms. Cracker once danced on top of a stranger's car. There was a video circulating around the internet for a while, and it was eventually posted by Monet Exchange on Instagram in June 2017, which was before Season 10 started airing in March 2018. In the video, Ms. Cracker is dancing on the streets, and it sounds like the person recording the video is sat inside a bus and the people inside can be heard clapping. And then Ms. Cracker climbs on top of a car that is parked on the street and she starts dancing on top of it. But then someone comes over and pushes Ms. Cracker and tells her to get down. Ms. Cracker then gets down and the person starts yelling at her, and Ms. Cracker tries to give them a hug but they refuse. This person is presumably the owner of the car because they then open the trunk of the car and get something out. You can then hear voices from inside the bus telling Ms. Cracker to leave it and get back on the bus. And Ms. Cracker then tries to shake the person's hand but they refuse again, and Ms. Cracker awkwardly picks up her things and walks out of frame, presumably back on the bus, and then the video ends. And a lot of people in the comments said that Ms. Cracker shouldn't have danced on that person's car because it was damaging their property, so they can understand why the car owner was angry at Ms. Cracker. However, in a Reddit thread that I found, one of the commenters said that this video was part of Queen of the Ride, which is an experience that takes place in Manhattan, New York, and is an adult-only event where drag queens drive you around Manhattan and make funny commentary and do live street performances. And according to the Reddit user, on these tours, you can always see crazy shenanigans in the street, but they are usually always scripted and pre-arranged, which implies as though Ms. Cracker dancing on the car and the subsequent argument with the owner may have been scripted. However, I couldn't find any conclusive evidence to back this up, so I'm not sure if this was genuine or not. Rock M. Sakura's edited runway voiceover. Rock M. Sakura competed on Season 12 and placed 12th. You may remember that Season 12 was filmed sometime in July 2019, which was before the COVID-19 pandemic started. But then Season 12 was released around the time the pandemic started, and the finale of Season 12 had to take place virtually because of the lockdown rules that were then in effect. However, what you may not know is that one of Rock M. Sakura's runway voiceovers had to be changed because it sounded accidentally insensitive due to the pandemic. In episode 4, which was the ball, the queens had to make outfits using different types of balls, and this was actually the episode where Rock got eliminated. And in the episode, Rock's runway voiceover was edited, and the reason we know this is because the original voiceover footage has since been published on the internet. In the original voiceover, Rock puts her hand to her mouth and starts coughing, and then Michelle can be heard saying, quote, "Oh dear, now that's an outbreak." Rock then says, quote, "I feel like a beautiful flu virus with legs. If I'm this sickening, you're definitely going to die soon." And although this runway was filmed before the COVID-19 pandemic, the show clearly felt as though this voiceover was inadvertently insensitive to people who had got sick or died due to the pandemic. And in the voiceover that then got aired on TV, they took out all of the references of Rock coughing, and they also took out any references to viruses or death. And it's not clear whether they got Rock to re-record this commentary, or whether they just used part of Rock's footage from her confessionals when describing the outfit. But it's interesting to see the two runway voiceovers side by side, and it shows that the editors must have had to change things unexpectedly because of the pandemic to avoid being insensitive. Divina De Campo versus The Vivienne. So from the start of Season 1 of Drag Race UK, it was clear that Divina De Campo and the Vivienne were going to be strong competitors. And throughout the season, Divina did very well in all of the challenges, but ultimately the Vivienne won the crown. However, the two of them did have some drama on the show, especially in episode 5, where the Vivian said that Davina always wore, quote, a red wig and a silver dress, and Davina didn't really take that very well and felt as though the Vivian was effectively discrediting her. And this led to an epic fight between the two of them, where Davina famously said, a red wig and a silver dress? I don't think. However, what you may not know is that the drama continued after the show had ended. In an interview with QX magazine, Davina was quite critical of not only the Vivian but also RuPaul and the show as well. Davina said, quote, I don't think I fit the model that RuPaul likes. He likes people who are cutthroat and will smash your kneecaps in order to win. That's not me. And this comment is sort of implied as though Davina thinks that the Vivian is cutthroat, and this kind of discredited the Vivian's win, or at least that's how it was perceived by the Vivian. And the Vivian then clapped back on Twitter, posting, quote, smash your kneecaps in order to win. I won that show fair and square, constantly discrediting my win. Grow up. And the drama doesn't stop there. Davina also mentioned this in another interview, and she talked about the only person that she knew in the cast was the Vivian. But she said that the Vivian totally ignored her for the first 3 days and was kind of dismissive to her throughout the whole taping of the show. Davina continued in the interview and said that she truly thought of the Vivian as a friend because they had worked together before the show and she was the only person on the cast that she really knew. And then Davina said that it felt really crappy, effectively, that the Vivian clearly didn't feel the same way. And later the Vivian sent out another tweet in which she implied as though she had severed all ties with Davina. The Vivian said, quote, weight lifted. I've never entertained fake friendships in my life. Not going to start now. Sorry it was public but had to get it off my chest. Everyone versus Ellie. Ellie Diamond appeared on season 2 of Drag Race UK. The Scottish Queen was known for her impressive looks and sewing skills, and she also had her fair share of drama. In episode 8, Ellie won the mini challenge and was then given the power to decide the running order for that week's main challenge, which was a stand-up comedy show. And the other contestants, mainly fellow Scottish Queen Lawrence Chaney, felt that Ellie had tried to rig or destroy people using the running order to try and sabotage everyone. And then later in Untucked, fellow contestant Ahura exploded at Ellie and said that she, quote, couldn't even look at her, meaning Ellie, because she was so angry. And this left many viewers a bit confused because this outburst from Ahura seemed like quite a big reaction that came seemingly out of nowhere. However, Ahura later said in an interview that what we didn't see is that on the main stage that week, they were actually asked who they thought should go home that week, and Ellie chose Ahura. Ahura said that she was so angry, and that's why she exploded in Untucked, because she and Ellie had actually become best friends on the show, which wasn't kind of shown, but they had built up this real bond. And so Ahura said she felt as though Ellie, quote, threw her under the bus by putting her first in the comedy show and then also saying that Ahura should go home that week. But since then, the two of them have reconciled, and Ahura said that the two of them are really good friends and they talk all the time. The Astina incident. Astina Mandela competed on season 2 of Drag Race UK. The trained dancer was actually a favourite to win, but she actually ended up going home in the second week. But just before she was eliminated, there was an incident that happened where Astina stormed off set, but the footage was not actually used in the end show. In an interview, Astina said that the producers kept moving her around while she was trying to get ready for the main stage, and so she eventually confronted them about it, and then they had a heated argument. Apparently one of the producers had to come over and get Asttina, and she eventually did return to the set and lip-synced, but then she was eliminated. And this story actually makes sense because before season 2 even aired, there was a news article that came out saying that there was some drama about a contestant walking off set, but it didn't say who it was, and BBC never actually officially confirmed it. But this interview with Asttina would make it seem as though it was her that this article was referring to before the show even aired. And Asttina has since admitted that she was battling mental health issues at the time, and she wasn't really enjoying the experience on the show as a result, but she's now in a much better place. Tayce versus Vinegar Strokes. Vinegar Strokes competed on season 1 of Drag Race UK. Vinegar was actually expected to do really well on the show and had recently, before the show aired, had recently performed in a West End musical alongside Judge Michelle Visage, but she was actually eliminated in the 3rd week. But Vinegar actually landed in some hot water later when she made some mean comments online about season 2 contestant Tayce. During the airing of season 2, Vinegar Strokes was part of a live stream video for GAY, and Vinegar said that some of Tayce's looks were, quote, the same old bleep, and implied as though Tayce's looks were really bad. Vinegar also went on to say, quote, I blame the edit for making Tayce look better than she actually is. And then she then said that Tayce needed to bring the, quote, drag race version of herself and not the brunch version of herself. And Vinegar also went on to say, quote, why is this person, referring to Tayce, who let Ahura suck her off and make her outfits for her, why is Ahura not in the building and this person is? I don't get it. And by this, she was basically saying, why is Tayce still in the competition when Ahura clearly made the outfits for her? But this is an unsubstantiated claim. Tayce then hit back on Twitter and posted, quote, forgot how bitter Vinegar actually was until today. I wouldn't be so pressed if weren't meant to be friends. However, friends is an overstatement now. Hashtag buy hodgepodge. Vinegar eventually issued an apology to Tayce, and it seems as though the two of them have now patched things up. Veronica Green versus Ahura. Veronica Green competed on season 2 of Drag Race UK, but had to drop out of the competition because she contracted COVID-19, and she was then later announced that she would be part of season 3. However, just before season 3 started, there was some drama involving season 2 contestant Ahura and Veronica Green. During a live Q&A session, Ahura was asked to play Shag, Marry, Kill with her fellow season 2 contestants, and Ahura said, quote, I would kill Veronica mean. Because why? Because she's bleep. She's annoying, she's a little bleep backstage, and she also gets kicked out fairly early on season 3. And this comment caused a lot of backlash, and a lot of people started attacking Ahura online, and Ahura said that she later issued an apology to Veronica Green. Veronica Green was then later asked about this incident in an interview, and Veronica said that Ahura had sent her an apology text message, but Veronica had ignored the text message because she wasn't ready to speak to Ahura yet. And Veronica explained that the reason that she was annoyed was not actually what Ahura said, because Ahura is entitled to her own opinion, but what actually annoyed her was that Ahura had basically given a spoiler for season 3 by telling everyone that Veronica went home early because season 3 hadn't started airing yet when Ahura made those comments. Veronica then later added in the interview that she would eventually speak to Ahura, however it's not been confirmed whether this has actually happened yet, and Veronica also added that she has since left the season 2 WhatsApp group chat. Madame La Queer. Madame La Queer competed on season 4 of Drag Race US and placed 10th. Madame had a relatively short run on the show after being eliminated in episode 4, but she won a mini challenge in episode 4 and a maxi challenge in episode 2, which means that she had the shortest run of any main challenge winner in Drag Race US history. In episode 2 of season 4, the queens had to compete in the WTF Wrestling's Trashiest Fighters challenge, and Madame was partnered with Chad Michaels. At the beginning of the episode, Madame mentioned that she had a previous ankle injury.
There's something very important. I had a previous injury in my right ankle. I hurt my right ankle doing a show. I didn't saw the step and my ankle goes click and suddenly I couldn't walk.
But then seemed to suggest that the injury was not that big of a deal.
Don't worry about my ankle.
I am going to worry about it because it's important. If your ankle's hurting and you can't do something, you need to let me know because I can't read your mind.
And this moment became a bit of a meme, and when you search for Madame LeQueer on Google, the ankle click is one of the first things that comes up. And later in the episode, they show Madame during rehearsal for the challenge hurting herself. However, she seemed to be okay after that and then went on to win the challenge with Chad Michaels. And some Drag Race queens have even joked that Madame LeQueer was the original ankle injury queen. And it appears as though the ankle injury was not the only injury that Madame has had. In a 2014 interview with Abby Normal, Madame was asked what the scariest thing that's ever happened to her in drag is. And Madame said, quote, "I live in Puerto Rico, can I make a list? I've been mugged in drag, stopped by a policeman, broken my left wrist and twisted my right ankle. I have more." And Madame's ankle injury went on to become one of the defining moments of her time on Drag Race. Shangela. Shangela competed on season 2 of Drag Race US, but was eliminated first, and then famously came back in a box to compete again in season 3. And she then went on to compete in All Stars 3, making it to the final 4. One of the most memorable things about Shangela's run on Drag Race is the lip sync she did in episode 2 of season 3 against Venus Delight. They both fell in the bottom in the design challenge episode called The Queen Who Mopped Christmas, where the contestants had to make seasonal outfits using Christmas-themed materials. The lip sync has gone down as one of the most awkward lip syncs, as both contestants pushed each other around and were overall a bit messy. And at one point, Venus threw her ponytail at the queens standing at the back of the stage. And this even led to RuPaul saying after the lip sync that it made her uncomfortable. But what you may not know is that Shangela apparently got cut during the lip sync and was bleeding. Although I couldn't find an official source to confirm this, there have been several rumours that Shangela cut herself on some shards of glass from the baubles from her outfit. And apparently Shangela had to have medical attention to get the shards of glass taken out of her. And if we look at the stage during the lip sync, we can see lots of debris on the stage from the queen's outfits. And at the start of the lip sync, Shangela is wearing some bauble earrings, and after the lip sync, she isn't wearing them anymore, which does support the rumour. Eureka. Eureka originally competed on season 9 of Drag Race US, but was sent home in episode 5 due to her ankle injury. And she then came back to compete in season 10 and then later in All Stars 6. When you think of queens who got injured on Drag Race, Eureka is probably one of the first ones you'd think of, as she was the first queen to ever be eliminated due to an injury. During the episode 2 cheerleading challenge on season 9, Eureka did a cartwheel and said that when she landed, her knee popped, but she continued doing the routine. In an interview with Vulture from April 2017, Eureka said that after the cheerleading challenge, her knee continued to swell, and one of the production team said that she needed to go to the hospital to get it checked out. Eureka explained that she went to the hospital and had an MRI scan, but the results took a week to arrive, so she continued filming the show in the meantime and started to use crutches. When the MRI results came back, it turned out that Eureka had completely torn her ACL, otherwise known as the anterior cruciate ligament, and Eureka had to have surgery. In episode 5, after the bottom 2 lip sync between Cynthia Lee Fontaine and Farrah Moan, RuPaul left the judges' table unexpectedly and no one knew what was happening, and then Ru returned. Ru then called Eureka forward and said that the doctors had said that Eureka needed to leave the competition to have medical treatment, but she had an open invitation to return for season 10. Some people have wondered over the years if this moment was scripted and whether Eureka knew what was going to happen. However, according to Eureka in the interview with Vulture, she had no idea. Eureka said that when she got called forward by RuPaul, quote, "I thought she was going to be like, actually you're up for elimination. Or there was going to be some crazy twist like, I hear you and Farrah are friends, can you be her crutch on crutches? Or I had maybe done something that disqualified me, I just was paranoid at that moment." And Eureka also said that when she left, the director came up to her backstage and told her that they knew that Eureka would want to stay in the competition even if it was dangerous for her health, which is the reason why production didn't ask her what she wanted to do, and instead they decided to let the doctor make the decision for her. Eureka also said that her injury was an insurance liability for the show, and for legal reasons they couldn't allow an injured contestant to stay in the competition. Ultimately, after surgery and physiotherapy, Eureka's knee healed and she came back for season 10 and placed runner-up. Ms. Cracker. Ms. Cracker competed on season 10 of Drag Race US and placed 5th, and then came back for All Stars 5 and placed 2nd/3rd. Ms. Cracker had a good run on both of her seasons, getting one Maxi Challenge win in season 10 for the Makeover Challenge, and she also racked up 3 Maxi Challenge wins in All Stars 5. What you may not know, though, is that Ms. Cracker broke her toe shortly before going to film season 10, but she kept it a secret and didn't tell anyone because she was afraid of being recast/eliminated. Ms. Cracker first revealed this during her YouTube show, Review with a Jew, where she explained the story.
I'm finally gonna say this. Right before I left for filming the show, I broke one of my toes. So for this entire season, when I'm standing in a critique, I'm standing on a broken foot. But nothing hurts more than hearing another queen get positive feedback.
And then, in a tweet the next day, Ms. Cracker explained why she didn't say anything about her toe and said, "I actually didn't mention my broken toe because I didn't want them to Eureka me and send me home." And so it's impressive to think that throughout each of her performances in season 10, including her elimination lip sync, Ms. Cracker was doing that with a broken toe and no one from the show ever knew anything about it. Juicy Couture. Juicy Couture competed on Drag Race Holland Season 2 and was eliminated in the first episode. During her lip sync against Reggie B to the song Physical by Dua Lipa, Juicy walked to the back of the stage and then did a knee slide. When the lip sync finished, they zoomed in on Juicy's knees and you could see that the stones on her tights had actually cut her knees and she was bleeding. When I interviewed Juicy on my channel, I asked her about this and she explained that she didn't notice her injury at first and off-screen the production staff made her go to get first aid. However, Juicy said that she refused first aid and just did it herself. And Juicy even made a joke about her injury during her exit.
En Juicy, je hebt het begrip Blood Diamond wel een hele andere dimensie. Ja, precies, meid. Er zit een diamant in je knie nu.
Dat noem ik nou Glamour Hospital.
And this is just one of a long list of injuries that has happened during Drag Race lip syncs in multiple franchises. Cornbread. Cornbread competed on season 14 of Drag Race US and placed 12th after leaving in episode 5 due to an ankle injury. Cornbread had been doing well throughout the season and was actually one of the favourites to win the season. However, she shockingly left the competition in episode 5 and explained via a video message that she had injured her ankle and could no longer continue with the competition. And the reason why Cornbread's departure from the show was so shocking was that her injury was never addressed on camera up until that point, unlike with previous contestants such as Eureka. So the audience didn't know anything about the injury until it was suddenly brought up in episode 5. In an interview with Mira Mangle on YouTube, Cornbread explained that her injury actually happened off camera. Cornbread said that people always think that her injury happened when she rolled off a table during the episode 4 Super Tease challenge. But in fact, the injury actually happened during episode 1 off camera, and she rolled on her ankle and just decided to shake it off and continue. But Cornbread said that during the Super Tease challenge, she had to do a lot of physical activities, such as pretending to run, which made her already injured ankle worse. Cornbread said that when she went back to her hotel that night, when she got up to go to the bathroom during the night, her ankle had swollen to twice the size and she was unable to walk. So she saw a doctor who said that it would need around 6 to 8 weeks to heal, which is why Cornbread had to leave the competition. And Mira asked whether it was Cornbread's decision to leave, and Cornbread said that it was her decision but also the doctor's decision due to the severity of the injury. And in an interview with Entertainment Weekly, Cornbread said that after the show, she injured the same ankle for a second time, and it was actually her season 14 sister, Maddie Morphosis, who helped her. Cornbread said, quote, "We were going to the gig and I rush, and I was walking out the house, literally there were no stairs in front of my door, I was on unsupportive shoes, and I rolled my ankle again. It was the same exact sensation that I felt on the first episode." Cornbread then went on to say that she managed to make it to the gig and was running on adrenaline, but said that after the show she took off her shoes and was not able to walk. Cornbread also said, quote, "Maddie was there luckily for that day and got me through, helping me, putting my heel up and doing all my little walking and stuff for me. But yeah, it's the same ankle, so it's a bit weaker than usual." Willem competed in season 4 of Drag Race US and ultimately placed 7th after being disqualified in episode 8. It's well known by now that the reason the show gave for Willem's disqualification, which was that she was receiving conjugal visits from her husband, was actually a lie. And the truth was that Willem actually wanted to get kicked off Drag Race because she had another job booked, and so she wanted to leave Drag Race to go and do that job, which was a musical at the New York Fringe Festival. However, what you may not know is that Willem actually fractured her wrist on Drag Race, but didn't realise it until long after filming. In an Instagram post from 2017, Willem said that 90 days after filming season 4, she went to the doctor and an X-ray showed that she had a badly healed wrist fracture. Willem explained that it happened during the wrestling challenge in episode 2, which is the same challenge where Madame LaQueer also got hurt. And Willem has previously said on her podcast that in that particular challenge, the queens were not given adequate health and safety training, which is why several queens got injured during that challenge. Willem also explained in the Instagram post that at the time when the injury happened, she knew that something was wrong, but she was actually discouraged from going to the hospital by a member of production. So Willem just decided to keep going in the competition, but stopped doing push-ups and working out for the rest of the month that she was in the competition. But Willem doesn't seem to have mentioned anything about the fractured wrist since then. So, there you go, there were 7 queens who got injured during the filming of RuPaul's Drag Race. I do have some more injuries that I could talk about, so let me know in the comments if you'd like me to make a part 2 of this video. So, did you know about any of these injuries before? And which one was the most surprising to you? Let me know in the comments. Please make sure you like, comment and share this video as it really helps support my channel. And of course, please make sure you hit the subscribe button to stay up to date about new uploads. Thanks for watching, and I hope you'll join me again in future videos. Thank you, bye!